Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back again with another vlog. This time I'm going to be covering my trip to India over the summer, so let's begin. So the trip started at Toronto Pearson International, and right after checking in, we headed straight for the business class lounge, which has this amazing buffet. And it gives you a great opportunity to relax before your very long 14-hour flight. Now, it didn't take me much longer to go ahead and check out the shopping that the Toronto Pearson International Airport has to offer, and there were a lot of great name brands to choose from, although they were very expensive, as expected. And soon enough, it was time for us to board our flight towards New Delhi. Now, we knew it was going to be a very long flight, so we went ahead and we upgraded our seats to business class, which means you get this amazing recliner seat which lays down. You get an amazing bar and an amazing menu to choose from. And 14 long hours later, we finally landed in New Delhi. And the moment we stepped outside the airport, the heat hit me right away. I mean, I'm going to be emphasizing throughout this vlog just how hot it was, but I don't think I'll ever be able to fully appreciate just how warm it was. I mean, you guys are going to have to watch it through this vlog, but just know that I was sweating most of the time recording all of this. Now, after arriving in Chandigarh, which is where we live, I decided to check out the brand new Tim Hortons location that they just opened up, and I have to say it was actually pretty impressive, especially because their menu was much more diverse than the one we have in Canada, and the taste was oddly similar. I have to say, overall I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Now, a lot of the clips you guys are seeing right now are actually from this really cool studio that I found in India, where my brother was doing his pre-wedding photo shoot, but I decided to check it out and walk around and look at it for myself, and I was able to capture these amazing clips. So we are currently in Chandigarh, Sector 17, having a good time. Now, as you can imagine, there was a bunch of people selling fake sunglasses. Now, throughout the days, I would spend my time trying out different types of street food and heading over to different places in India where, certain foods are popular. And it didn't take me much long to find Starbucks, KFC, things like McDonald's. And here's just a little bit of a preview of what the Indian McDonald's menu looks like. I mean, it's pretty interesting to look at. And also, they do this cool coffee customization thing at your table, which is really neat. Now, a lot of my India trip was actually spent towards shopping as well. I don't know if I mentioned, but it was my brother's wedding happening in India, so we had to do a bunch of shopping for clothes, for jewelry, but we also found time to enjoy ourselves quite a bit. So we are roaming the Ready Market in India. A bunch of cool different things here around, clothes, a bunch of things everywhere. We're gonna keep you guys updated. So literally this market was selling fake jewelry, fake belts, fake sunglasses, anything you can imagine. So the market that we just showed you guys essentially sells all fake things, but it's pretty cool to look at. We'll talk later. Now, at this point in the trip, the wedding was getting very, very close. So as you can see, this is what the house looked like, with all the amazing decorations. But it was time to catch a flight to a different part of India in Kolkata to start the wedding events. Now, after wrapping up with all the wedding events, we decided to take a road trip to Agra, where we saw this beautiful gate which led us to the very beautiful Taj Mahal. So take a look at where I am at right now. So here we are at the Taj Mahal, one of the 7 wonders of the world. At least it was at one point. Anyways, let's go take a look inside. So this bad boy right here took 20 years to make. I don't know the whole history, but apparently there were 20,000 people that worked during this construction. It started in 1631 and it ended 2 decades after that. And as you can see, it is still standing very, very strong. So we're here at the front side of the Taj Mahal. That's the entry where we just came from. If you spin around, you can see this is what it looks like close up. It's made of beautiful marble, which is really solid, which makes you wonder how it's been able to stay this strong for so many years. I mean, it looks like it was built a year ago, and I guess that's why they call it one of the wonders of the world. So we just came out of the Taj Mahal. Photography was actually prohibited because there was the 2 tombstones of the king and the queen, king being Shah Jahan and his queen being Mumtaz. We're not allowed to record inside. Anyways, we came back out here. This is the Yamuna River behind me, which goes all the way to Pakistan. Now we also decided to get a local guide who was explaining the history of the Taj Mahal and also did a really, really good job of answering all of our questions. So I definitely recommend taking someone with you if you don't have much knowledge about the actual monument. So obviously, since this is a tourist attraction, there's a lot of people who are tour guides. There's a lot of people who are selling souvenirs, selling fake tickets, selling a bunch of different gifts you can buy for people back home if you wish. But yeah, it's really beautiful. This is our little tour of Taj Mahal. Now let's go and grab our photos. Alrighty everyone, welcome back. Currently in the hotel room, just finished up the Taj Mahal tour. It was pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie. The last time I went there was actually 2012, I believe. I'll put a photo up of myself if I feel like it, so you guys can see what I looked like the last time I went. It was a lot of fun. You know, it's always so trippy seeing these landmarks in person. You feel like you're in a movie, you feel like it's not real. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but it was beautiful. It was amazing. The photos came out really nice as well. I'm gonna put those up on the screen for you guys to look at. But yeah, all in all, it was a pretty fun experience. Probably gonna be heading back tomorrow, so got another long road trip ahead of us back home to Chandigarh, which is probably gonna be about an 8-hour drive if we're lucky. So let's go. Now at this point we decided to jump into the cold pool because the weather was so hot. I mean, the everyday average was probably 35 or 36 degrees Celsius. And it was at this point when we decided to travel even further instead of going back home. Alright guys, so here we are at the terrace of the Radisson Hotel in Agra. I already showed you guys some of the clips. There's a pool over there. There's some private rooms over here, as you can see. There's also a gym down there. But the main attraction of the terrace is obviously the Taj Mahal, which is all the way over there. If you can take a nice look, and you get a little glimpse of the city of Agra. So let's keep going. Now the Radisson, which we were staying at, was also very beautiful from the inside. As you can see, it had its own shopping center. The food was very tasty as well that they had for breakfast, and it was overall very elegant. Now we spent the rest of the day in Fatehpur Sikri, which is this really historical place in India. It is actually where King Akbar, who's the former emperor of the Mughal Empire, hundreds of years ago, actually lived here, and a lot of his kingdom started from this place. Now the local guides were very, very good in describing, what part of the kingdom was used for what activity, and they were all really, really passionate about this area because it is a big part in Indian history. So checking it all out was really cool. Also, a lot of Bollywood movies were filmed here, which is pretty neat. So we are in the kingdom of Akbar, and as you can see, the roof above me is almost touching my head, and that is because the King Akbar was 5 feet 8. So the roofs were very small, and that is why my head is almost touching it. Now, as the day went on, the tour guides described to us the different activities that King Akbar would do inside of this kingdom. He also mentioned the fact that he had many wives, and different parts of the kingdom were actually used for his different wives. I mean, they each had their own places to stay, they each had their own servants, they each had their own shopping areas, such as the one you see right here. I also want to mention that this day the temperature was 43 degrees Celsius, and I can feel this video. Like, I'm editing it right now and I can feel the heat. I mean, look at these clips. I'm literally sweating. I'm just hoping we get back to the bus and there's AC blasting in my face. It was so hot. So I'm currently on the rooftop of our hotel. The hotel itself was pretty nice. It's like this nice classic layout. It's got nice, designer beds. It's got a nice royal look to it, really. This is just a little bit of the design that they have tried to go along with sort of the theme of the hotel. Like this old-fashioned sort of kingdom type look. And this is the view of the rooftop. Pretty decent, not bad at all. So these are all footage clips from Jaipur in India, which itself is another historical city. Now this was our hotel that we stayed in. As I mentioned, it had a very unique design. Now again, this was another one of those areas that was very, very hot, and we decided to check out another one of King Akbar's very big palaces. So here we are at this beautiful kingdom in Jaipur, actually a little bit outside of Jaipur, but if you take a closer look, it's actually raining right now. You can see some of the Great Wall of China. These were essentially used as defenses, as forts during war times. It's pretty interesting to look at. So take a look at some of those walls behind me on that mountain and think about how strategically this is placed, because they wanted to make sure that enemies were not able to attack. It's pretty smart. So behind me is some of where the kings and queens used to live. You can imagine what the atmosphere looked like back in the day, but this is what it looks like right now. We also saw these very large cooking utensils that were used hundreds of years ago. And we also saw these two mountain goats just chilling at the top. So you guessed it, we are back on another flight. This time we're headed to Kashmir. and I'm really excited because this is a place I wanted to go for a really long time, and it should be a bit cooler. There should be nice weather there. We're taking off now. Let's go. Now the flight to Kashmir was actually a very short one. It was only about 30-35 minutes, but the views were absolutely breathtaking from the plane. Luckily I got a window seat, so I was able to get a really good view on all the mountains and all the beautiful scenery that we were going to be exploring in the next couple of days. Take a look at that view. And we're only getting started. Now our first day in Srinagar was actually spent towards looking at a lot of these cool different gardens as well as these amazing views that you could see. Take a look at this almond tree above me. Take a look at that fort up there on that mountain behind me. That was another one of King Akbar's many forts around India when he was still king. Now after spending a night in Srinagar, we decided to take about a 3-hour drive towards Belgaum, which itself was also very beautiful. We saw people rafting, we saw the beautiful mountains, we had this nice cool breeze of air following us the entire time. Now this was actually the place that we stayed at, and there was this really cool bridge that connected the mainland to the hotel, which is actually pretty neat. The hotel was called Hotel Heaven in Belgaum, and it's actually a very popular place for tourists to go, as well as many celebrities, believe it or not. Now we eventually got to this park, which is a really popular place, and I decided to take the challenge of horseback riding. I was very scared, and this next clip is going to outline exactly why. There's very few times in my life where I can say I'm scared for my life. Undoubtedly, this is one of them. I'm on a horse, which I feel like is too small to carry me. Oh shit. So this horse ride's been pretty eventful. I feel like I got the smallest horse, but that's calm. We just went through the water back there, which is pretty neat. And would 100% recommend this to anyone who is into horseback riding or is not heavy. Go for it. Definitely go for it. So this was by far one of the most beautiful locations that I've ever visited in my life. Honestly, it looks like Switzerland. You could easily get fooled. If you showed someone a picture, you could easily fool them into thinking this is Switzerland. So, beautiful experience, really nice people. There are some con artists out here though, so you gotta be careful. I recommend you come with a local because you might get robbed. But yeah. Take a look at that view behind me. Take a look at that view in front of me. Now, after checking out the mountain, we decided to come back down and look at the local market, which was actually very alive during this time of day. So take a look at some of the local market. It's really nice, really well lit up here in the evening. It was funny because there was people selling these knockoff hoodies and sweaters because obviously it was really cold over there. Good morning, everyone. Take a look at where I'm sitting today. So, helicopter. So, we spent the night in Belgaum. We're going back to Srinagar today. It's about a 3.5-hour drive, and the road is amazing. It's beautiful. Let's go. Take a look at my little friend. So we're about to head to the masjid back there. Let's go. So we weren't allowed to record inside. But take a look at this beautiful view behind me. We're essentially on a mountain, so it's this nice, cool breeze that follows you around. Currently roaming the market. This market is so nice, so packed, but it's nice and cool. Now, upon our arrival back to Srinagar, we decided to hop on our very first shikara ride, which is actually this really cool sort of mini boat that takes you around the waters and shows you around to look at these houseboats that you can actually spend the night in. And at one point there was a lot of these boats actually pulling up next to us. So we have people selling us items. This man right here is making tea and coffee. This man is selling some antique things, and this man is making food. All while we are traveling in this little boat. Now, my family really wanted to do this shikara ride because it is one of the main attractions of Srinagar, and I have to say it was the coolest thing ever. I mean, the locals were very, very nice, and there were a few people that we encountered that I think tried to scam us out of more money, but obviously we weren't going to let that happen. But overall, a really, really good experience. Take a look at this market behind me. We got different people selling different things. For example, a gentleman back there selling some gifts. Good morning, everyone. So we spent the night in this beautiful boathouse. Let me give you guys a quick tour. So this is sort of the dining area right behind me, which is pretty neat. There's the kitchen behind me. I think that's the way to the top, but they won't let us go in because I don't think they let anyone go in to the top. This is the first bedroom. This is where I stayed. The bedrooms are pretty clean for the most part. They do have this sort of like cabin vibe to it. This is the second one. And as you can see, I'm sort of walking down this eerie hallway. So at night, this was pretty terrifying. Anyways, this is the third bedroom. And this is the fourth one. So there's 4 bedrooms here. There we go. Let me show you guys the outside view because it is early morning right now, so it's pretty quiet, pretty peaceful. Let's go. So this is the view outside. I guess business is starting for the day, so it's pretty quiet. All right, let me show you guys the outside view. So take a look at this breakfast area behind me. And there's also a bunch of neighboring boat houses, as you can see. It's like this little neighborhood in itself. Now, after spending the night in the houseboat, we decided to go to Gulmarg the next morning because that is the main attraction where all the tourists usually go when they come to Kashmir. Take a look at this view. We're back again, horse riding. This one I feel a little more confident in. I feel like he's a little more stronger. Now we went on this beautiful gondola ride to the top of the mountain, and there were actually 2 parts to this. The first part is the one you're seeing right now, but the second part was actually being renovated, so we weren't exactly able to go to the very top of the mountain where there's snow, but we checked out this area, which is already very cold in itself. It is also recommended that you book your tickets beforehand. So take a look at this beautiful view of Gulmarg. A lot of people actually say that whoever comes to Kashmir comes only for Gulmarg. It's essentially the main attraction, so take a look at it. Pretty nice. So we got here in a gondola, as you guys saw, and there's a second part to it, which takes you all the way up there, but that is under construction right now, so unfortunately we cannot reach the snow that is up there. So we just had some coffee and snacks up there. It's a really, really cold area. We're here during the warmest time of the year, and it's still like 15 degrees, which is not cold, but it's cold, relatively cold. So we are back on the horses yet again. Took a gondola down. Now the horses are taking us to our vehicle. And these horses are very cute, very disciplined, and very strong, by the way. So take a look at all that greenery behind me. A lot of Bollywood movies were actually filmed in the area behind me. So the locals here have seen some of the biggest movie stars in the world. And obviously Kashmir is a very popular filming location as well, even for Hollywood movies. Good morning, everyone. So today is our final day in Kashmir. Last night was terrible because it was so cold. Everyone in my family got a cold. Anyways, we got our flight later today, so it's our last day officially. Let me show you the view of my hotel room. It's nothing too crazy, but you do get a little bit of a mountain view over there, which is nice. Obviously a lot of people, a lot of dogs barking at night. And before we knew it, it was finally time to say goodbye to Kashmir. And this is by far one of the most beautiful locations I've ever visited in my life. I mean, if you ever get the opportunity, don't hesitate, just check it out. A lot of people go during the winter, but we actually went during the warmer season. It's still beautiful nonetheless, but you might have a better experience in the winter. And it was only a matter of time before I headed back to New Delhi for my flight back to Toronto. Good morning, everybody. We have finally made it to New Delhi. This is the hotel room I stayed in last night. We actually made the trip from Chandigarh. It took about six and a half hours. It was a pretty good drive here, but let me give you a little tour of the room. So this is the bathroom, a little messy, since I'm about to check out now. And take a look at this room. We got a nice office desk here. We got a nice sofa here. Nice area here, and take a look at this. The reason this room is so expensive because of the pool view. I was actually gonna go down there this morning, but luckily I have a pool view straight from my room. So I saw 12 people in there and I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna go today, maybe later. Now, after enjoying my last few hours in India, it was finally time to head over to the airport for our very early morning flight back to Toronto. And the only reason it was early morning is because by the time you land, it's actually around morning or afternoon time in Toronto. So it is very strategic. You know, they want you to have a very good night's sleep. And since we were flying business class, we had our own lines to check in our baggage, as well as security. Now, the New Delhi airport was absolutely stunning. I mean, it's been renovated a bunch, but it still remains one of the world's best airports. So I'm currently sitting in the Air India business class lounge where they have unlimited food, unlimited alcohol. That's all you really need. So actually, funny enough, this is exactly when we realized that we've been upgraded to first class because there was some malfunctioning happening with our seat. So obviously we took the free upgrade. I mean, it was gonna be the first time that I or any one of my family members was flying first class, and this was the seat. I mean, during this entire time, I was still in shock that we ended up getting a free first class upgrade. I mean, this is something that people spend thousands of dollars towards, and we were able to get it for free. Now, I had so much fun during my first class flight. I mean, the flight attendants handed me this menu, which was like 6 pages long, just because of all the food options that they have available to you. Again, I was lucky enough to get a window seat, and at this point, I realized exactly why people spend so much money towards these seats. I mean, especially when you have a long flight like New Delhi back to Toronto, which is about 14 hours long. It's worth it, you know, it definitely is worth getting the rest. And as you're gonna see in a second, the seat was fully reclinable. I mean, I'm a pretty tall individual, and for me, the seat was so comfortable. It was an entire bed, which is definitely worth it on a long flight. Good morning, everybody. I'm currently sitting in the first class cabin of this Air India flight from Delhi to Toronto, and I gotta say, this has been a surreal experience so far. Obviously, business class and first class flyers have a separate line to check in their bags. There's also a separate security line, and there's even a separate line to board the plane, which is pretty cool. And as you can see, I'm in the first row of the plane, so the exit to the plane is just over there, which is pretty cool, which means I'm one of the first 4 people to leave the plane. Anyways, let me give you a little tour of this cabin. So I was lucky enough to get a window seat, which means I have all this extra storage beside me. So first thing we have is the remote for the TV over there, which by the way is pretty big. You got chargers, you got a bunch of storage space, even over there. This is your mini tray that turns into a table. There's some hangers over here, you can't really tell. Obviously you also get a night suit. So these are pajamas and a shirt for you to wear on your flight. You also get slippers, and you also get this nice travel pouch, which has a lot of the amenities you might need on a flight, such as, toothbrush, toothpaste, socks, etc. So I actually ended up sleeping the first 8 hours of this flight, of this 14-hour flight. So there's only about 4 hours left. Time flew by really quickly on this flight, simply because, you're relaxing, you're in this bed, you don't even realize, but you can pass out for hours. It's that comfortable. Now, as we were getting closer to Canada, I started getting a bit sad because the flight was about to be over and I was gonna have to say goodbye to this amazing first class cabin. Now it was time for lunch, which means the air hostess brought out another menu, especially just for lunch, and I decided to go with a nice shrimp salad as my appetizer, as well as some Indian food for my main entree, which again, the food was very, very delicious. Now, as we were only a few minutes away from landing in Toronto, I really took this time to reflect on the entire 2-month trip in India and how I was so lucky to be able to check out Kashmir, the beautiful city of Jaipur, Taj Mahal, as well as many other historical forts in India, which really showcase how beautiful the country really is. And I'm so glad I was able to document this entire journey to share with you guys, which brings me to the conclusion of this vlog. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed the vlog, comment down below if you want to see more in the future, and as always, take care.